Hi everyone, and welcome to the next installment of the Endgame series. This time the theme is going to be the control of crucial squares, files, and diagonals, which is generally important in chess in any case. One of the most fundamental rules in the opening, for example, is the importance of central control. And it was the great Nimzovich who stressed the importance of overprotecting strategically important squares. These themes apply even more so in the endgame. Many endgames are decided when one side loses control of a vital square, diagonal, or file, which the opponent can then use to penetrate the enemy position. The first game we're going to look at to illustrate this was played by the endgame specialist Ulf Andersson against Marcello Temponi at a tournament in Buenos Aires in 1979. As usual, I'm just going to skip on to the point that I want to talk about. It was an English opening and went as follows: c4, knight f6, knight f3, g6, knight c3, d5, c takes d5, knight takes d5, e4, knight takes c3, and d takes c3, which is an unusual choice because it allows queen takes d1 check. And after king takes d1, white loses castling rights, but gains a couple of tempi, so it's not that bad. Like him c5, bishop e3, b6, a4, the importance of which we'll come back to in a bit. Knight c6, bishop b5, bishop d7, breaking the pin, king c2, bishop g7, rook hd1, a6, bishop c4, and bishop g4. So here we are. White has d-file control for now and has gained some space on the queen side. Overall he has a small edge, but nothing much. In actual fact, he has only one move to maintain any edge, and that's what Andersson played here with h3, which is a good move as it voluntarily accepts doubled f-pawns, and Andersson has correctly assessed that the two bishops will be strong for the ensuing endgame, especially considering black's light square weaknesses on the queen side. So bishop takes f3, which of course isn't forced, but to retreat the bishop loses time. So it's not a bad decision. These doubled f-pawns and three isolated pawns for the endgame could give good play. Just depends how it goes. But Andersson's judgment ended up to be better than Temponi's, as you'll see. So here Temponi castled. Then came f4, which is prophylaxis against black using e5 for his pieces. And now rook a7, which is an unusual move, but black is faced with a dilemma about what to do with his a-pawn here, because on a6 it's controlling b5, which is an important square for him to guard given white's light squared bishop, but doing this forces him to keep his rook on the a file also. If he wants to keep it on a6, he has to keep his rook either on a8 or a7, and there's no other way to resolve the problem. Like playing b5, although weakening, would be one idea, but Andersson has made sure that's not possible by playing a4 earlier, which is why that was a good move, all part of his light square queenside strategy. And with his rook tied to defending the a-pawn as it is now, black is unable to challenge white's d-file control, and it's the only open file on the board, so it's very important. And another option is to play a5. But this fatally and permanently weakens the light squares on the queen side. And this move, rook a7, is somewhat indecisive. Temponi is going to play a5 on his next move, and he could have done so here instead. And this indecisiveness is important to take stock of, as it's a surprisingly common phenomenon in inferior endgames. When there are no good moves to be found, it's easy to start drifting, and in doing so you often make things even worse. And this is another reason why you shouldn't hurry if you have a sustainable advantage, which white certainly has in this position, albeit only a slight one, because your opponent will often make things even worse for himself due to lack of good moves. So e5 is what Andersson played here, which is gaining space in the center and cutting out the bishop here on g7 from the play in the game. and now a5, which, finally the decision is made, but the light square weaknesses here on the queen side are glaring. So rook d2, which ensures that white will retain control of the d-file should black now challenge it. And Temponi now played e6. After rook a d1, he played a rook c8. Now comes king b3, which is a very nice move, and now we can see Anderson's strategy of accepting doubled pawns bearing fruits, because incredibly he can now essentially win the game on the light squares here on the queen side. So bishop f8, improving the bishop, which is a good idea. It's completely passive on g7. Now bishop b5, rook c7, and bishop takes c6, which is another nice move and a good example of the transformation of advantages. Anderson is giving up the bishop pair in order to penetrate decisively with his king on these weakened light squares, and this combined with the d-file control leaves black completely helpless, and the rest is easy. Really, Temponi resigned 9 moves from here. After rook takes c6 comes king c4, bishop e7, rook d7, penetrating to the 7th rank, which Temponi now wisely challenged. After rook takes c7, rook takes c7, he played king b5, and with this move, white is winning. He's well over a pawn ahead here. And Temponi played rook c8, which is leaving the b pawn to be taken, but it was impossible to protect. If instead rook b7, now king c6, rook b8, king c7, rook a8, king takes b6, and it falls anyway. After rook b8 check, king takes a5, rook takes b2, white's a pawn will be decisive. So there's no way to hold on to the b pawn, so rook c8 may as well be played. And now rook d7, which penetrates again dangerously to the 7th rank and avoids the rook b8 idea to win back a pawn after king takes b6 from white. So king f8, which is getting the king involved to defend the bishop, which was attacked by the rook. And now king takes b6, king e8, rook b7, bishop d8 check, king b5, c4, and now bishop c5. And here Temponi resigned. Fritz gives the evaluation as well over 2 pawns up for white, so it's no wonder. And it was, an instructive and seemingly effortless win from Anderson based on a very deep understanding of the principles of files and squares. Okay, that's the end of part 1.